What is up, y'all? My name is Robert Donaldson, and today we're continuing this series to check out all the conference tournaments. And this time we are checking out the Ohio Valley Conference, or the OVC. And all the matchups are going to be played on a neutral court in Evansville, Indiana, at the Ford Center. And last year, the bracket went almost completely chalk up to the semifinals, where the number one seeded Murray State beat the number four seeded Southeast Missouri State, and the number three seed Morehead State beat the number two seed Belmont. Now, if you are plugged into the college basketball landscape, then you are aware that both Murray State, the number one seed, and the number two seed Belmont are no longer in the OVC. They have moved over to the Missouri Valley Conference. And because of that, the drop in talent was severe this season. And it also kind of created a logjam, as no real one team emerged out of the flock to really take over and take control of the conference. And that's going to be interesting in this tournament, because there are going to be some long shots available here. I don't really have a good read on this conference, if I'm being honest. And I'm all about just being honest with you guys when we're talking about placing actual money on bets. So if we're looking at that 5-8 seed, Southeast Missouri State going up against Lindenwood, I am going to take SEMO to advance. I think Lindenwood is one of the worst teams in the country, and SEMO has actually showed a little bit of promise. They started off the season a lot hotter than they finished, but we're still going to take them to advance there to the quarterfinals. And then as we head down to the 6-7 matchup, this is where it gets interesting, because Southern Indiana is actually a pretty darn decent team. And not only do I think they win this one, I think the next round is going to be interesting as far as potential individually betting goes on that one. So let's take Southern Indiana to advance to play UT Martin in the next round there. But as we kind of look at the Southeast Missouri matchup with Tennessee State, I'm going to go with Tennessee State. I'm going to keep it chalk here. I'm going to have the four advance to the semifinals. And then as we go down to the 3-7 matchup between UT Martin and Southern Indiana, this is where I think the log jam that we just talked about really presents itself. I think Southern Indiana beats UT Martin. I think this is actually a matchup that, if you told me these were the 2 and 3 seeds or the 3 and 4 seeds at the midpoint of the season, I wouldn't be shocked. I think these two teams are actually pretty damn decent. And as we kind of move on now forward, we have Tennessee State taking on Morehead State. Morehead State has not been that overly impressive, and they have had some games. For example, against Little Rock, a game that we actually bet on Little Rock and beat them outright. And Morehead State is just not the same Morehead State of years past. The transfer portal is kind of eating them up. That said, I say we kind of go with the program culture here and advance them to the championship game. And then we have the 2-7. So we have Tennessee Tech going against Southern Indiana. And Tennessee Tech is just a gritty, physical, swagger-heavy team. If you've ever watched them play, they play with a lot of confidence. So let's take Tennessee Tech to advance there to the championship game to play Morehead State. And in that championship game, I like Tennessee Tech to actually beat Morehead State. I think they are the better team. Again, we're probably looking at a 16 seed, whoever emerges out of this conference regardless. But I will take Tennessee Tech to win the championship game against Morehead State. And then as far as kind of future bets are concerned, I don't love a lot here, if I'm being honest. Like I said, this is a hard conference to get a grasp on this year. That said, Tennessee Tech to reach the championship game at plus 130 is definitely enticing. Also, I say we take a little shot here with maybe Southern Indiana to reach the OVC championship game at plus 500. So those would be my two bets. I don't think I'm going to place either one, just because Tennessee Tech might even open up as a dog if UT Martin ends up on that in that matchup there, and we can just individually bet it in that instance. Southern Indiana might be worth a bet, but there are so many futures bets out there with these conference tournaments that I don't really want to lay too much on this one here with the OVC. But other than that, if you guys have any takes on this conference, or you have any bets that you're personally placing, definitely drop them down below. I'd love to hear them. Love to hear you guys' angles on those. But with all that said, y'all, I will see you in a future video. Take it easy.